So we had the leak about all the 5th generations that will probably come kinda soon to War Thunder, right? The F-22, the Su-57, the J-20, the F-35, but even, actually, the YF-23, right? But there are other ones that actually can come later, right? Vehicles that are still in prototype phase or are getting into production right now that we actually might see it in the future. So we're gonna speculate a little bit on what those vehicles would look like, because of course many of them are not really in service. Of course, we're gonna just pass over them, and maybe if they get into service, we might actually add them to the game, right? Or have them in the game. So it's just kind of, let's go through them very quickly, to what should you expect if we see some of these. What are the most likely ones, okay? So let's start with China. China has the J-35 or FC-31. This is a new generation of 5th generation jet, or a new, not a generation, like a new vehicle that they are producing. Very early in service, you know, they have like 8 or something, or 11, something like that. There will be a version that it's for the Air Force and for the Navy, one of them that can actually land on a carrier. And it is basically a 5th generation stealth jet for the next step for China, right? It will likely use an ISA radar, probably an IRST as well. It has 2 engines. Very difficult to know anything about these engines. The thrust rate, of course, we have no idea. It probably goes around Mach 2, and it will have obviously internal bays and a very advanced electronic suit. Of course, it will use the most modern missiles that the Chinese use, like, for example, the PL-10 and PL-15, and even other things, like missiles that are being still produced, right? But the J-35, we don't know much about it, but we will probably see it eventually on War Thunder, and it looks like an F-35 that it's mixed with an F-22. It's kind of a very cool like look on the aircraft, right? Another one that we don't know much about is the KF-21. This is a South Korean 5th generation jet that it should be getting into service maybe next year, in the very early stages of that, maybe the year after that. And basically the idea is the same here, right? Have a 5th generation jet that will be focused on stealth, okay? Normally, the prototypes and stuff, they are going to use external hardpoints, but there are plans to provide an internal bay as well, right? So yeah, of course, it will be using all the stealth technology. The engines are supposed to be the 414s, right? Which are the Super Hornet engines, Gripen E engines, right? 2 of them. And it will have a pretty good thrust to weight, you know, and a pretty good speed, close to Mach 2 as well. It will be able to use the Meteor, AIM-120s, Iris-T, AIM-9X, something like that, right? So yeah, we don't know much about the aircraft. Still very early stages of prototype, but we'll probably see this vehicle in the game if it gets into service next year or 2027 or something. We will eventually see this. They already built 6 prototypes, so I would assume that they will start to actually build them officially very soon. The next one is a little bit further away, guys. I don't see it coming to the game anytime soon, and honestly, it will take a long time to be developed, probably. So yeah, this one you take with a lot of salt, okay? This is probably not going to be added to the game, but I would like to just comment a little bit. There is a Turkish one that they are producing, the TAI TF Kaan. This is, again, a stealth aircraft, very similar to the other ones that we already talked about. It will probably use something like the AIM-120s, have an electronic scanner array radar. It probably will use initially the F-110 engines. This is what the prototype is actually using. And then they would produce another one later, domestically, right? It's kind of a heavy aircraft, very fast as well. But again, only one prototype. They did made a maiden flight with it in 2024, but it will probably take a little bit of time to get into production, right? They say around the 2030s, right? So I would assume that this is not going to be added anytime soon. It's just cool to see that we have other nations trying to produce a 5th generation jet, right? Some people even make fun of these jets and stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch having this thing on the list, but maybe we will see it. Who knows, right? It would be cool to see another country's 5th generation take on a jet, right? Another one that it's a little bit further away is the Su-75, right? This vehicle is in its like very early development of the first prototype. So this is going to take a long time to be added, right? We are looking at the far, far future. But eventually, when the Russians get this thing out of, prototype phase, we might actually see it coming. They say that the plan is to introduce this vehicle in 2027. I think it's very optimistic. I don't know much about the Russian economy right now and how they would build this thing so fast, but I think it's a little bit optimistic, right? I mean, they have very slim numbers of the Su-57 for now. I mean, it's getting higher and higher by the day, but it is still kind of far off from like the numbers of like the J-20 and F-35 and F-22, right? So having another one maybe will help because, of course, this would be kind of a cheaper vehicle to be produced, more of a single engine kind of vehicle, something like J10, similar, like to be cheaper and stuff, right? But at the same time, we don't know much about it, right? But eventually, if this thing get into service, we'll probably see it being added to the game. And that's kind of it for now. This is already stretching up a very, very, very big, kind of very long gap that we have in the future, right? This video, guys, actually, it's not to show what you should expect for the next fifth generation jets after we see other ones, or even together with the other ones that we already have leaked. It's kind of to show to you guys that apart from one or two models that we might see it coming after the initial fifth generations, it will take a long, long time for us to actually have a new step up. That's the objective of the video, right? It's to show to you guys that apart from the F-22, F-35, Su-57, and the J-20, and maybe the YF-23, we'll probably never see, or it will take a long time for us to see another step up, okay? The main aircraft that I see coming in a soonish future that I listed is the J-35, okay? This is the one that it's the most advanced one in terms of how far it is in its development. The KF-21 a little bit more as well, like together, but the Turkish one, the Russian one, there's plans of the British, like sixth generation vehicle that they're trying to produce. Maybe there is an Indian fifth generation jet that they might produce in a long, long time future. So yeah, there are all these projects that are so far into the future that we'll probably never see them, or it will take like 10 years for us to see some of these, right? So it's, again, guys, to show to you guys that we are kind of hitting a limit. We're kind of hitting a endgame on War Thunder Air Tech 3 development on top tier. So let me know in the comments, what do you think Gaijin will actually do after we see the fifth generations? But because as you can see with this video, we don't have a lot of options to be added afterwards. Obviously, these vehicles are being produced and developed right now. So War Thunder will need to develop them, if you will, into the game together with this development in real life, right? So it will take a long time. So don't expect these things to come, okay? None of them. Maybe, like I said, the J-35 eventually, maybe even the KF-21. But apart from these two, guys, any other fifth generations that were not already leaked shouldn't be in your list of it's coming very soon, okay? So this was it. I hope you enjoyed. I kind of played a little bit with, the listing here, but it's just to show how difficult it is to go past the fifth generations that are going to come maybe next year, okay? So I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, thank you all the members and patrons, and bye.